right, everybody. Hi, and welcome to the official Body Spartan podcast. My name is Gabe Tuft. I am the founder of Body Spartan and your host for the next hour or however long we decide to go. And with me tonight, absent for a few podcasts, but I'm so glad she's back. She's been very busy, been off gallivanting the esoteric, ethereal world. Back with new tips, back with new tricks. Back with new tricks. The wonderful, the lovely, the gorgeous, the long-haired, long-eyelashed, ever so brilliant, ever so wonderful.
First Lady of Body Spartan, Priscilla Tuft. Hello, my love.
You're just sitting back there like, oh, wait, I got to sit up now.
I'm excited to join this deliciousness tonight.
Are you?
I'm going to talk about something sick.
Are you really?
But first, I want to talk about what came in the mail.
What came in the mail?
Something really exciting, something very colorful, something so unexpected. Cereal from Gary.
So you're talking about Gary Vaynerchuk's, what are these? They're podcast puffs. All right, so I'm on Gary's VIP list. I don't know if I've told this story before, but I'm sure I've told this story before. I sat in Gary Vaynerchuk's office years ago when JTG.
And in case you don't know who Gary V is.
Gary V.
A lot of people don't know.
AKA Gary Vaynerchuk, owner of the New York Jets, owns VaynerMedia. I've
inspirational speaker with a nasty set of words that he uses words that are impactful, impacting
like
profanity,
fuck.
Like that.
Like what? We're in one of those. It's gonna be one of those games that we play where you don't actually say the word fuck all night, or you just don't intend to engage in any type of profanity whatsoever.
Well, he's basically a motivational speaker. He's pretty motivating.
Well, yes, he is. He's probably the pinnacle of entrepreneurship.
I would say that he definitely is.
And now
next to you, my dear.
Oh, please, I'm not even close to Gary's level. But the point is, he built. I can talk. He built VaynerMedia from the ground up, and what he's doing now is he's found a way to basically create content that it just gives away for free to help people that. From students trying to figure out what to do with their life, people just looking for a purpose, and entrepreneurs. I mean, he's given some of the best advice possible, and I'm on his VIP list. I sat down in his office a couple of years ago. God, it was like 10 years ago, wasn't it?
It must have been. It was in your WWE days.
Yeah. Do you want me to lock that chair for you? I see that you keep falling backwards.
Oh, it's so comfortable.
Oh, okay. It was after WWE. After I had retired and I was home because I was wearing the stuffed shirt thing and I had a suit and I didn't really have a suit for WWE. So JTG, Jason Paul, former Crime Time, one half of Crime Time, the other half would be Shad Gaspard.
So much fun.
Yeah, we just call him Beast. Just giant guy. He's actually real good buddies with Mike O'Hearn.
Hilarious.
Yeah, him and O'Hearn work out on a daily basis. I think Shad really works out his mouth more than he actually lifts. But
his body would say different.
Well, he's
pretty jacked.
He's super jacked. I can't give that away, but I have to kind of give him a little shit from time to time.
He loves to play, that is for sure. But that makes him super fun.
Yeah, so Gary, we sat down in Gary's office. JTG calls me. He's like, yo, dude, I got a possible investor for this project. Him and I were trying to design an app. And I'm like, okay, I don't know who the fuck this Gary guy is. So I fly down to LA. Did we fly or did we drive? We drove. Right?
Oh, yeah. We were in, oh my gosh. I guess we were living in Northern California, so you must have flown in.
I think, yeah. I literally think I flew in for the day. I think, yeah. Yeah, Jay picked me up and we went over, got dropped off at Gary's building where we were greeted by security at the front door. Not like as you come in at the front door, then they escort us in after they pat us down. And, we're in suits and ties and stuff. And then they got to check to make sure we're on the list. Then we go up to the umpteenth floor of the building.
And we had no idea who this guy was back then.
Yeah. And on the umpteenth floor, the security guard, who's dressed very nicely and is a very large gentleman, he escorts us. Like the elevator opens and it's not like an office. It's like a private kind of suite area. It's got multiple conference rooms, but it was really cool. And he just escorts us in the room. He says, sit here. Gary will be here momentarily. we're all, okay. So we sat there all quiet. Gary comes in and I'm like, hey, I'm Gabe. And JTG's like, yo, I'm Jay. And I was like, okay, cool. So what do you guys got? Just right down to business. Kind of told him what we had. He basically told us, hey, good effort, but it sucks. And here's why. And it's because there are better things that you could be doing. It's not unique. It doesn't disrupt the industry, all these things. And I just looked at him like, dude, you don't fucking know. I'm like, wait, were you spoon-fed, dude? Were you just given a bunch of money? And now I'm like, you don't know shit about this. I got a great app here. And he shows me these other things like it was, the three dots that show up, P, when you're texting?
Yeah.
He would show me that. That was, I think it was called Presence or something. I don't remember exactly what it was called. But he's like, see this? This is new technology. This is totally changing the industry. I'm like, yo, dude, it's three dots. It tells you when somebody texts. I'm like, that's not what this app does. Ours is so much cooler. And he's like, well, I'm just going to say no, guys, but go back to the drawing board and come back. I'm all, dude, go fuck yourself. It's really what I was thinking when I walked out. I'm like, what a waste of my time, dude. Well, here I am, 10 years later. Everything he said to me in that office has sunk in really well. And I'm like, you know what? If I had taken even a 1% of the advice he had given me.
You came home so jaded. I'm laughing so hard. But isn't that how any sort of life progression is? You don't see it. It's right in front of your face. You're getting this life lesson and you don't see it until you're on the other side of whatever the heck you're supposed to learn is. That was confusing the way that I said that, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, the crazy part was it took me 10 years to have every bit of advice he gave sink in. And I was just like bitter at first. And then the project failed. It didn't get off the ground. We couldn't get it going. And part of it was because I had no experience. But the other things he told me did not click in until I was halfway to where I am now with Body Spartan. I'm like, oh my God, this guy was right all along. I wish I had taken 1% of his advice and really sat down and thought about it.
I had totally forgotten about that project until right now. I mean, it looked so great. It looked so huge and big and wonderful. And you're like, I just sat down in this jerk's office. He was such a jerk.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? You're like, he said our idea sucked. And he had some security guards meeting us. And then we find out years and years later, because we consistently follow this guy. I mean, he's brilliant. He's got incredible ideas. He's funny. He's so funny. And he makes a lot of sense. So if you actually are starting a business, you might want to look into this guy because he's got some incredible top-notch stuff that you can't find anywhere else.
I think the difference now and then is that I've listened to so much of his advice and I've taken it all to heart, and I had to grow. I had to go through these experiences. I had to break out of prison, so to speak, as is the topic of the podcast tonight. It's called Prison Break. I really had to break out of my own prison, and I really had to get some experience and fail. I had to fall on my face a bunch to realize, oh my gosh, Gary was right the whole time.
And when you talk about breaking out of prison, that means taking the tie off and the button-up shirt that somebody else told you should be wearing. Be your dang self, people. Goodness sakes.
Yeah. Please be yourself. And by the way, a lot of people go see Gary. And this podcast isn't all about Gary. We just have podcast puffs sitting in front of us, which we'll talk about.
I know.
In just a
so
second.
Awesome.
But
Who
a lot of people
cereal. I love it.
They sit there and they just line up at his door trying to get a 10-minute appointment with them with him to talk about their business venture, whatever's going on in their life. And honestly, at this point, I have listened to so much of his stuff and I've sat in his office already. If I saw him again, I wouldn't ask him a single question about business. I would just literally say to him, thank you. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for all the things you told me that I didn't understand 10 years ago.
Thank you for the free content that has completely revolutionized the way that we feel about business.
And thank you for these awesome podcast puffs.
So funny. Okay,
they show up in the mail the other day.
This bright red box. It says Gary V's podcast puffs. He's sitting there with his little podcast mic and his bowl of,
but it's a cartoon of
Captain Crunch looking stuff. Yeah, it's like a cartoon, and then it shows how to pronounce his name, Vaynerchuk. Because you got to say it right. The nutrition facts are legit on the side of this box. I was wondering, is this
that blew
really
me away
cereal?
Because on the front it looks like it's just white labeled Captain Crunch, but when I opened it up, I'm all, wait a minute, these are like kind of wheat checks looking things, but made out of corn. The ingredients are legit, though. I mean, there's nothing
They really
in it.
are.
It's like all kind of healthy.
Well, Mia's like, can I have some? And I'm like, sugar content.
Less
Like,
than that pumpkin flaxseed cereal I get at Costco that I think is so healthy, but I know it's loaded in sugar. Less than that.
And so on the side underneath the nutrition facts, it's him winking, and he's got one hand. I don't know. He does have two hands in real life, though, right?
No,
I just see
he
one.
has one.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. just one, and it's always got a green wristband on.
I
always.
think the branding players, like if you look on the back, because I did this with Mia. I spent the time and I went through everything on the back with Mia. And there's things that...
And those of you that don't follow us regularly, Mia is our 7-year-old, amazing little entrepreneurial spirited daughter.
But it literally says, welcome to Gary's office on the back. And it's like, how many Garys can you find? And then it's basically a replica in cartoon of his office and shelves of all the pictures of him. You got to go through and find him. And then on the other side, there's little quotes that he's got on the side of the box there. It's kind of his, his bigger quotes that he lives by. And they got little answers on the bottom, and I went through them with Mia, and it was a great learning experience. I got to explain to her what every single one of these things means. And I just thought, you know what, dude? This probably cost him a couple $100,000 or maybe, $50,000 or whatever.
I mean, it's a pretty high quality little box.
He probably has a shit ton of people on his VIP list, and he sent this to every one of them. He had it manufactured, made, and sent. And I'm just thinking, dude, what's the play here? It's just literally a gift. Gary is now in my cabinet. That was the Velcro falling off the ceiling.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's really interesting. Being that I study energy medicine.
Which is why you were gone for 4 days.
Which is why I was gone for 4 days at a healer's conference. So it's very interesting because the topic of karma has come up. And it's interesting, whether you're Buddhist or whatever religion you are, there's this law of karma, or there's the golden rule in the Bible. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Same thing in Buddhist, like all this stuff. So one of the things that we've learned in marketing, namely from Gary Vee, is that you must give more than you ask for. And here he is sending this cereal as kind of generosity, but then we're popping his name around on our podcast and inspiring other people to go and listen to him. So for us, that was a good play. He got free marketing out of it.
Well, I think that what you just said, you have to give more than you
ask for.
Than you ask for. I think the big point right there, we were talking about marketing, obviously, because this is an entrepreneur thing, but this podcast relates to life in general. And giving more than you expect to get in return is something that is going to help you break out of your current prison. And when we say prison, we're referring to whether you're stuck in your job or you're in the same cycle over and over again, or you have this thing that you want to do and you never get around to doing. It's the prison of life that everybody is in. It's like, fuck, I'm stuck here. Giving more than you expect to get. I mean, this is literally step one. And
then another one, Deepak Chopra, another like spiritual teacher. He says, what you want to get, you must first give. And so here he is giving us cereal because he would like our business.
But what example would you give of giving more than you would ask to receive? So maybe just general kindness, or maybe going out of your way. I mean, these are silly little things when you think about it.
They freaking matter, you guys.
To the average, it's those things that your parents told you to do, or that you saw on TV when you were a little kid. Like, oh, this guy's got a flat tire. Let me go stop and help. Or this old lady needs to cross the street. Maybe that's not going to change your entire life, but it will start reprogramming the way that you think, and it will change the positive energy in your life. And as we know, the more positive energy that you have in your life, the more your body, the cells of your body, the molecules of your body vibrate at a higher frequency. The higher frequency that they vibrate at, well, the rest all kind of falls into place.
And you can even bring this concept into your marriage or your relationship. If you guys are going through rocky times, serve harder. And there's, you don't want to get
serve harder than me, bitch.
It's like you can continue to wage war. 17 years of war.
All right. Well, before you even, you have to explain that story.
Oh yeah. Sometimes I forget that everybody isn't in our head with our little inside jokes. We went on a beautiful anniversary staycation in SF and met these guys from Austria. And they were laughing, having
Wait, were
so
they from
much fun.
Austria? I thought you said they were from England. They were just English.
England.
Yeah,
England. Yes, they're from England. And they were just cackling up a storm. Like, these guys were so entertaining, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have a siesta," or I don't even know. So I'm laughing with them, and they're like, we're here for a conference. What are you here for?
Did you mention you were in an elevator?
Oh, yes, and I'm in an elevator
So
with
Priscilla
these guys.
gets in an elevator with, there were 3 English gentlemen, correct?
Yeah.
Slightly older.
Cackling back and forth, like so quick-witted and just back, forth.
50s, 60s, 70s, what do you think?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Maybe 60s.
Maybe 60s. Okay, so they're a generation above us, basically. Before us. I don't know how you want to say that.
Yeah.
And so you step into their cackling environment. La da 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 da.
And of course,
tea
I
crumpets.
get involved right away because that's what I do. I love joking with random strangers. It's just so much fun, especially the ones that are really quiet and awkward. They are immediately the focus of my attention just because it's fun to interact with humans. So I go in there and I'm laughing with them at this, this conference they went to, and they said, "Well, why are you here?" And I said, "Oh, it's my anniversary." And they look at me blinking. They're like, "How many years?" I'm like, 17. Oh, no. How many years did we just celebrate? 16 last summer.
It was last summer. It was 16.
Yeah, 16. They go, 16 years of war.
they didn't even miss a beat.
I was, you not say
16
congratulations.
years of war.
16 years of war. Like, well, anyways, bring these concepts into your marriage or your relationship and watch how the other person rises to the occasion. We need to go ground or something.
Apparently. All right. Well, let's get down to the brass tacks of this podcast, and it's called Prison Break. Breaking out of your current cell is what we're going to do. And right before we get into that, I do want to do a couple of quick things. There's big things going on in Body Spartan right now. We've totally pivoted our business model. As you guys know, we are no longer selling programs singularly by themselves. They are all covered in the All Access Pass. Right now, you can get a free trial, 14-day free trial. Did you just unbutton? It
is hot.
Wow. That zipper is down almost to your belly button, and you're not wearing a bra or a shirt underneath.
Well.
And you literally just pulled the old Pamela Anderson, ripped the top half of your shirt open because it's
really hot.
And you're kind of glowing.
I just got out of the bathtub.
And while everybody's sensory portion of their brain is activated, I'm just going to remind you that at bodyspartan.com, you can go get that 14-day free trial of the All Access Pass. So head on over there and do that.
Seize the moment.
Seriously, sex sells. I mean, come on. Whether you're listening or watching, it sells. With that All Access Pass, so you get access to every single program we've ever made. All the new programs coming up. We're promising you guys 4 new programs a year. And you get access to the Spartan Army, which is our weekly content section. You get a motivational video. You get a standalone workout all by its lonesome self, unrelated to any program. So in case you're in between programs or you just need a new workout to do, there is a brand new workout and workout video every single week with instructions that go with it. There is a fitness tip from one of our pros or one of our competitors or one of our brand ambassadors. So it's one of our little tips, tweaks, tricks that's going to help you get massive gains in the gym. And finally, once a month, we're doing a cooking show, recipe show. We're going to show you how to bulk and shred, how to meal prep, do all that cool stuff. We've got 2 years of archives for that. So you get access to all that good stuff. And yes, it's there. The other cool thing is we are done filming Forge 5X. We're a little behind schedule. That's Brian Cage's The Effing Machine. It's his program. What are you laughing at? I'm like in the middle of this just tremendous plug, and you just
effing machine. I thought we were going to stop saying that.
The fucking machine, Brian the fucking Machine Cage. He is not a man. He is a machine.
Is he
made for war.
Made for war.
War.
Made for war.
That's the first time that you've spoken in that podcast, Mike, that I've actually been able to hear you.
And that you said the effing machine. That never mind. We went off on that one time.
Anyway, I know. I see.
Yeah.
Like a fuck machine that you buy on a XXX site. I get it.
Do you remember we laughed about that for like 15 minutes? I think it was one of those Johnny Walker episodes.
At the end of the day,
At the end of the day, oh
Cheers.
gosh.
But Brian-
this time, every time we say the end of the day, we're going to take a Gary V's podcast puff.
And chew on it. Well, Brian wrapped up filming with us, so Sean and I are feverishly editing the last videos. Our web developer is getting the programming done. We're set to launch on May 31st, so hang on to your shorts, guys. This one is freaking intense. I mean, there's crazy stuff. Everything from, if you guys saw the Mike O'Hearn video we did, we incorporated some of the super slow time under tension stuff, did some partial rep blood flow maximization. We've got full body days for strength training in there where we're doing upper body and lower body splits. We're getting you down to your 1 rep maxes. I mean, this is...
I don't know what you guys did, but he was staying with us while
Brian?
he was
You're
filming.
talking about Cage.
Cage,
Yeah.
yeah. So he's staying with us, and he just walks in and boosh, like face first into this like little bed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you okay? He's like, it's not a tumor.
Brian?
No.
Dude, we filmed.
He was
I mean,
just so wiped out.
dude, we had 2 days to finish everything, and we went from 7 a.m. and the shirt's coming off, and I see everything.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
Great.
Do you remember that
I'm
naked
literally
podcast that we
looking
did?
at your bare breasts right
It's really warm in here. It's really, really, really
now. Well, guess
hot.
what? At this rate, I am not going to open a window, and we'll see exactly what happens.
Aren't you
Naked
hot?
Podcast.
Are you not hot?
I'm hot on the inside. I mean, you're sitting there with your tits hanging out. I mean, what am I
I'm
going to do?
listening. Can you not tell?
As you're massaging them too.
No, I'm not. I'm
you.
showing-
What do you mean not? You just totally just ran your fingertips over your bare breasts.
All right, we were talking about Cage. And
Oh, no, we just transitioned right to Cage.
Also,
so
it's
wait,
not
you
a
were
tumor.
You were rubbing your fingertips over your bare breasts and thinking of Cage. That's great.
They are not tumors.
Yeah, so we filmed from 7 a.m. and we went until, but when you saw him, it was probably 6 or 7 o'clock at night. Broke for dinner. And then we had to do a bunch of voiceovers here in the podcast.
He
studio.
was so hungry when he came home.
Dude was famished.
So he goes and he grabs like all these eggs and he's just like loading them in while eating spoonfuls of my yogurt, my Faget. And he just was slathered, like his whole face had yogurt all over it, like in his beard and stuff. And then he's eating
Looked
raw
like a
eggs out
bad
of the pan
porn
as
video
they
or
cook.
something.
So he's got eggs and he's got yogurt just dripping off his beard. And Gabe and I are just sitting there blinking. We're like, dude, do you even feel that? Do you feel that there are eggs on your face?
Do you
feel
that?
the yogurt? And once he realized it was there, he's like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so I don't know what exactly went down in the studio that day, but oh my goodness, they were wiped out. You guys must have created some serious madness.
We had a lot to film in a very short amount of time, and we got it all done. He flew up, was here for 2 days. I had to do everything that was left to do in 2 days. There was no fucking around. We're already behind schedule, so we just like, okay, this is it. We have to get it done, and we went. I will say that I worked a little longer than everybody, although I didn't lift any weights.
Yeah, he's not supposed to lift more than 5 pounds right now.
Yeah, I was. Well, that's a whole different story.
Let's not go there.
We'll tell everybody when
we
it's time.
got some good. Yeah, we do have some intense
I will be
stuff to
back
talk
in the
to you guys.
swing of things with lifting weights sooner than I had thought. Let's just put it that way, and we'll circle around and make the official announcement probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Don't worry about that right now, guys. But yeah, I'll be back lifting weights sooner than I thought. It's got its ups and its downs, but we'll circle back to that. Anyway, guys, Forge 5X is coming out in July. No, I'm sorry. In June, we have Rev 2 with Christina. And then following that in July, the Big Arm Bible 2. And then we'll have one more program for you guys coming probably around Black Friday. But those 3 programs will get you going. Until then, it's going to be awesome. All access pass. 14-day free trial. Oh, by the way, supplements. All our supplements are on sale too. 35% off. Use the code. Ready? May 35 for 35% off and free shipping.
Oh, you're making me miss Howie.
I know.
That's Howie's voice.
35% off and free shipping. I do miss you, Howie. We'll do a podcast when you decide to text me back someday. Howie's just ghosted me lately. Like, legit ghosted me.
He's been through so much.
I don't care. We were supposed to go see John Wick 3.
Hercules.
Anyway, I love Howie like a brother. But when you don't text me back and it's opening night of John Wick 3, dude, we have some serious issues to take care of. All right, so on to the prison break. Here's what we're going to do. we're going to look at this and go, I think there's two major bullet points that we need to talk about for this. And the first one we've talked about several times before, but it's so important that I think it needs to be revisited. And what we see are people, what do you see on social media on a daily basis? You know, if you were to pop onto that feed, I know you don't spend a lot of time on social, P.
I mean, I can make a guess. Can I guess actually what's on the feed? Because I do not go on the feed at all. Can I make an educated guess?
Yeah, let's make an educated guess, and I will tell you.
How many topics are there? Because I'm going to guess. I literally have not.
Well, let's say you popped on to Facebook's a good one because they've
got the news feed. So what I would assume to find in the news feed is news stories, politics.
Yep.
People's nasty opinions on politics back and forth.
Yep.
Animal videos that are hilarious.
That's also there.
That can totally get you in like this trap. Or animal rights videos that are sickening. And then people posting about terrible things that are happening at work, in their family, and illnesses.
That's the big one, yeah.
And then maybe random memes that nobody really cares about.
Oh, come on. Memes are great.
And then some that are hilarious.
Memes are great. I haven't seen a bad meme yet.
See, I don't know. That's just none of those things interest me.
Okay, and that's okay. But what I'm trying to say,
I like funny stuff. I like animal stuff.
But the point is,
but I would be
most
lost
people log on to Facebook or Instagram. IG is not as bad by any means. I don't hear people
Did I
complaining
nail
and
it,
bitching.
or are there more things?
No, you really nailed it. And
Okay.
I think a lot of this generation that, our generation and one generation before us are on Facebook. The generation underneath that is Instagram. And then below that, it's all the other ones, Snap and all that stuff. The point is, most of that shit's negative, and most people are complaining about their situation. That's what I see.
Yeah,
I don't see a whole lot of encouragement, and I stay off the feed. I try to go in there and do what I need to do to encourage a couple people, but literally, I'm that guy that just unfollows. I'm like, I'm done, or I'll unfriend. If I see bitching of any way, type, shape, or form, I'm done, dude. I don't need that shit in my life. But most people, from what I'm gathering, because I delete and add friends on a daily basis. I've got that 5,000 friend limit. So I just delete and add, delete and add, delete and add, delete and add, and see what comes up. And it goes without fail. Whenever I add a group of new people, friend requests, 90% of them, the first thing I see are them bitching about their day or bitching about something. And what that tells me is that they are very unhappy with their current situation in life. Nothing from you?
I was just thinking
Why is our dog barking like crazy?
So we got this raccoon underneath the house.
Oh, is that what it is?
And so we completely blocked off underneath the house, and we're like cementing it so nothing can get in. But sometimes they creep into the backyard just to make her bark.
Well, all that aside with the raccoons, but my point was people are stuck in their current situation is what I'm hearing, and they're unhappy with it. They don't like it. So what happens? They turn to social media or whoever they're around, their family members, their friends, and they start complaining about the things in their life because they feel
really
like they're
fascinating.
Because they feel like they're trapped. That is why they complain.
I got so excited about what you said because in all of my studies of energy medicine, the throat chakra and the sacral chakra, which is basically your sex chakra, those two, when I said sex, you perked up. See, that's how I get you in the game. So those two are very, very responsible.
You have been gone for 4 days. Look at the laughs. When I said sex, you perked up. Well, of course. Been lonely for 4 days.
So those two chakras are highly important when it comes to income and making money. And when they're blocked, income slows down. And so they're stimulating the throat chakra by complaining, although it's creating more blockages. I just feel that's so interesting. The way that the body flows. It all makes sense. But the thing is, whatever you talk about the most is going to be created in your life. And so they're just creating more and more and more of the blockage and the stuckness in a job that they don't love.
And so the question is, maybe it's not a job they don't love. Maybe it's a marriage. Maybe it's family life. Maybe it's a roommate. Maybe it's somebody that's in school. Maybe they're in college
I didn't know we were going to open it up. Now it's getting fun. Because, I mean, this could apply to business. This could apply to a relationship. This could be any number of things.
Well, absolutely. I mean, people get stuck in their life. And life is about progression. Well, one of the factors of life is about progressing. We've talked about the 6 human needs before. One of them is progress, growth. If you don't have growth and you don't have progress in your life, you feel like you're stuck. You're not living a truly fulfilled life.
And this is important to all of us to varying degrees. For me, personal growth is everything. That is number one for me. If I'm not growing, I feel like I am just drying up and disappearing.
Shriveling.
How important is personal growth to you?
It's very high on my list.
Would you say it's your number one human need like mine?
That's a good question. I find myself needing certainty to an extent.
Right now, things have shifted. It used to be variety.
Because I had certainty. I had
now
a lot of certainty.
I would like to know that my heart's going to beat today because that'd be great.
Well, let's review the 6 human needs because we're talking about them because they're so important. Most of what we're going to cover tonight revolves around at least one of those. It's certainty, uncertainty, love and the human connection, growth,
significance.
Thank you. Significance and contribution. And the way that works is basically certainty is, okay, I've got my bills paid. I know what to expect. My wife's coming home, I'm coming home from work at 5. My wife's going to be there. I'll have food on the table. I can see my daughter. You know, the average, this is certain. I got enough money to pay my car payment and my rent or my mortgage. And I'm certain that when I come home, my dishes are going to be exactly where I left them. That's certainty.
Uncertainty is I'm going to go do a couple of wheelies on the freeway going 156 miles an hour on my motorcycle.
No.
Or for me,
it has never been 156, 126. Let's just get that clear.
Okay, all right, okay.
But for you.
Because I happened to look down at the speedo one time when I was on the back while you were doing wheelies on the freeway.
It was not 156.
About that.
Not with one wheel up. It may have been with both wheels on the ground.
That. All right. Liar.
Total squids.
Liar. Another form of uncertainty. Lying about going 156 miles with a wheel. Anyways.
Well, variety though. Got to remember too.
And then variety for me.
Variety and uncertainty are the same human needs. So certainty, uncertainty / variety.
Right. And so for me, that's going on this healer's retreat, for example.
Something out of the norm.
Something different.
Or going somewhere different for a date night with your wife or spouse or significant other. Like you usually go to the Jade Room and instead we're going to go to the Beer Baron, something like that. Where, hey, let's mix it up.
Or having Gary V's podcast puffs for breakfast.
Show up on our doorstep.
You do show up at that was actually really fun. We had a friend over and we got to pop open that box or unzipping your shirt in the middle of a podcast.
And I cannot.
I know you're not. It's just
the
hot.
more you move around, the more they bounce, and it's just really
hot.
a distraction to this podcast.
Okay,
making it really hard.
So the next
for me.
one, what was the next one that you said? I can't remember the order.
Well, let's go with significance let's go significance because that's typically the third one. So certainty, uncertainty / variety, significance.
Significance is having your face on a box of cereal. Significance is having a PhD or a college degree or I drive a Dodge Stratus.
Now, there's many ways to find significance. Some of them are good and some of them are maybe not so positive and some of them are neutral.
Are we ready to do another podcast on that? Because I love this topic.
On significance?
No, on the 6 human needs.
We could.
Oh, it's so delicious.
We could. But as far as significance is concerned, people find significance in different ways. Some people find significance by being a good father, by being a good mother, by being a great husband or wife, by going and getting their degree. They find significance by writing a book, or they find significance by yelling in a bar because now people are staring at them and they are the center of attention for a split second. There are many ways to find significance.
Or a negative way, they find significance by being the most broke or the most sick. Like they find something that they can latch onto, that they get attention for, and that makes them feel significance because it's uniqueness.
That was very insightful. Exactly circling back to social media, finding significance by saying, oh, dude, this motherfucker did this to me, or, fuck you, United Airlines, blah, 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 blah. And
or
now
even like,
now they've got United Airlines attention.
My cat's so sick. My cat died. My hamster's angry at me. Whatever they say that brings attention to themselves makes them feel significant.
Well, and since they posted that on social media, now people are like, oh, poor you. Oh, how dare they? That person's a dick or this, that, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then they got all these comments like, yeah, I did that. I'm significant. Or trolls. Trolls are a great example of people that need their 15 seconds in the spotlight. I deal with them every day on Body Spartan. And it's literally when we run a new ad, and we do what's called an awareness campaign. So we just put our workouts out there for people to see. And I pay money so that people will see our workouts and be interested and go, hey, dude, look at this cool company. They're giving us free workouts. I get the craziest shit sometimes. People just making comments that want attention and want to be significant.
And those workouts are free, by the way. And those ads that we put out, or I'm sorry, not the ads, the articles that we put out, those are free. That's part of the way that we contribute. Podcast. We don't get paid to do podcast. We freaking love you guys. We want to give back to you. That's contribution. And I know I did these out of order, but it seemed to just naturally flow. And
it did. Yeah, this is definitely giving back. This is us taking, when I literally should be editing videos, getting 4 to 5X ready to go. I don't know, like this 2 hours that I'm spending here could be spent prepping that program, but Priscilla and I enjoy giving back so much that we just have so much knowledge and experience that we've acquired. And if there's somebody out there that we can help through our podcasts, then damn it, let's do it.
And maybe you don't have podcasts, but something else that brings Mia and I a lot of joy, our little girl Mia, we pick trash up off the ground sometimes. Like if we're somewhere, especially somewhere beautiful, and there's something yucky on the ground, we'll like grab a tissue and pick it up and throw it in the garbage can. It's contribution. Back to the idea of karma. It's so weird how things come back to you, how people appreciate and take care of your stuff. Anyways, contribution. It is so incredibly vital.
That was the last of the 6 human needs typically. So we've got certainty, uncertainty, significance. We also have love, contributions at the end. And then love and the human connection. So that is found many ways. I use this example a lot. People need the human connection. It's inherent in us. I believe it's truly hardwired into our brains. And you look at the movie Castaway, when Tom Hanks is stranded on this island. It's an older movie. But he is desiring human connection so much that he finds a volleyball that's washed ashore, paints a stinking face on it, and it's a Wilson branded volleyball, and he calls the thing Wilson, and he talks to it on a daily basis because there's nobody on this island for him to talk to. People are really like that. You can walk down the street, find a homeless person. I guarantee, out of 10 homeless people, 5 of them are talking to themselves because there's no one around. And I got to be dead honest. When I'm alone for long periods of time, I'll just have conversations with myself in a weird kind of way.
Or even when you're not alone for long periods of time, you still have conversations with yourself. And sometimes I feel like that's concerning.
I mean, I do talk out loud.
What do you mean? What's happening? Why? No.
I
will record you and put you on social media so hard. It'll be your moment of significance.
Oh my God.
I'll do it for you.
Anyway, so those are the 6 human needs. Any 1 or 2 of those, you fulfill those? Wait,
did we skip one? Did we get them all?
No. Certainty, uncertainty, significance, love of the human connection, growth, progress. We didn't really talk about growth and progress.
We sort of did
earlier, and then contribution. So if you fulfill any 1 or 2 of those at any given time, you have temporary fulfillment. Any 3, you have what's called a raving fan of whatever's going on. If somebody can fulfill 4 of those, you have an addict. If you fulfill all 6, you have what's basically considered a truly fulfilled life. And so circling back now that you know that, on to breaking out of your prison, how do you change it? How do you change your significance? Your need for significance on social media, from posting all the shit you see every day to something else. And
remember, what you're posting, you're attracting. So what do you want to attract in your life?
There's this law of attraction that I'm sure many people have heard of. And it goes way back to this book, and which they ultimately made a movie out of, called The Secret. What was it, 15 years ago when this really got big? But it's a law of attraction. It's basically whatever you put out there, whatever you wish and want, it's going to happen. Of course, it takes work. I have found that thinking positive, having a clear vision of what I want, opens many doors, but I have to be thinking consistently about it and I have to be focusing on it consistently. And the doors will open. if you're thinking negatively about things, your doors will close. And that's why I'm talking about social media right now. And just in your daily, daily goings on?
Allow myself to
introduce myself. If you can shift your thought process. Okay, here's the challenge I'm going to issue to everyone listening this week. Every time you want to post a rant on social media, or you want to bitch about something, or you want to say anything negative, I challenge you to not only not do that, but post something completely positive. And it doesn't have to be about that specific event or person. If it's a person that's pissing you off, it's an event, if it's a company, I challenge you to not only not post about it, but switch your gears and post about something positive that has nothing to do with that event whatsoever. I don't even want you to look for the silver lining in that thing that was bothering you. Instead, I want you to look at something you're truly grateful for in your life.
You know, it's interesting because one of the things that's made me such a sought-after speaker at events is the fact that I sit and I think, what 3 things did I learn from this situation?
Or is it because you do things like this where you unzip your
No,
entire
I only unzip my shirt
so your breasts are pretty much exposed?
I'm so glad you're excited about that.
Because if I was a female, that would make me a sought-after speaker.
No, I usually have shirts on for my speaking.
But hey, I got a Snapchat filter for that now. Or lens, whatever it's called.
So basically what I'm saying is, say there's this difficult situation. What 3 things are you learning now? Share that on social media. And watch as your life takes a shift and those in your life are inspired and you feel like you're giving back. That's an act of contribution, but you're also creating your future.
No, wait, when you say what 3 things, say that again?
Are you videotaping?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to take notes.
You're not trying to take notes?
No, I was trying to open Snapchat, but okay.
Don't do that. I'm like very exposed right now.
You're not exposed. Your nipples are totally covered.
Put that thing away.
Which thing?
I will smack you so hard with that box of podcast puffs.
Okay, the phone's going down. What you said 3 things that you learned. I need to understand. So are you talking about things they learned about posting, or explain to me again? So they're thinking about posting something negative. Okay. What's the challenge? Your challenge.
My girlfriend's being a total jerk. That's what you want to post. Or like, it's more backhanded, like, oh, don't you hate it when certain people that are in a romantic relationship with you totally do this thing and that thing? Okay, you could put that, and then you'll get more of what you're posting about. Or you can say, these are the 3 things that I have learned that have incredibly increased the joy in my relationship. Thing number 1, serve more than I am served. Number 2, and then you're sharing that on social media, and watch as the positive things start to come into your life. Or something that Gabe and I always used to do, we'd get in these heated discussions. So heated.
Extremely heated discussions. AKA we're yelling at each other.
That's actually never really been a part of our marriage. It's usually intense emotions.
I think my definition of yelling is stern talking.
Yeah, but the emotions are like, we could blow the roof off the house, but we use kind words and we use kind tones. Period. That's how we speak.
We've learned that over the years. It's taken 17 years, but we figured that out.
We've known. I feel like this has been a trajectory that we've been on for quite some time. But anyways, when we would get into these difficult, heated discussions, we would stop. This was probably about 5 years ago that we used to do this. We'd stop, we'd look at each other, and we'd say, okay, let's do our 5 Gs. And I would say, Gabe, I'm so grateful that you're an incredible provider for our family. And
the 5 Gs are 5 things
you're grateful for about the other I'm all acting like everybody knows. And then you would say, Priscilla, I'm so grateful that you take care of our daughter. And then we go back and forth 5 times, and it would diffuse the anger because the focus shifted.
Yeah, it definitely, it's difficult to do if you've never done it before, because you're like, I'm mad at this person. I want to stay mad.
So hard.
I don't want to talk about what I'm grateful for. I want to kick him upside the head and take him down 10 pegs.
And these are genuine things. It's not just like, hey, you've got a really nice body. It's or like I'm grateful that you're in this house. Real things, guys. Real.
When you say real things, Priscilla, and excuse me for assuming, but I'm pretty sure you mean beyond the surface, beyond the superficial. Like you said, I love the way those jeans fit on you. It's more like, you know what? I am so grateful that you get up every morning and you prepare me as breakfast for her. Thank you. Things like that. Things that you do to serve, acts, spiritual things, emotions, that kind of stuff. Things that you notice that might make people feel good inwardly more than just outwardly.
And remember, give, you must first, or what you want to get, you must first give. Right.
And this goes back to, circling back to that as one of those things. So even before I do that, the challenge. So, your challenge slightly contradicts mine. So, maybe pick one and do it. My challenge was post something completely opposite. Like, don't even give that thing attention.
Shift the focus.
Yeah. Priscilla said, or, take that thing that you were going to post and post 3 things that you learned positively from it.
And I will say that is when my best content comes out, when I'm deeply hurting inside and I need solutions. And everyone's like, how do you know so much about these, about depression or about difficulty in parenthood?
Yeah,
how do you
it's because we've been there.
Because we're living it. And usually when this content comes out, it's because I'm going through it at that moment. So teach as you're learning.
Yeah, life is literally a series of events that occur. And it's so funny how everything relates, whether it's business or life or whatever. It's like in business, there are problems. And when you find a solution to that, there's more problems that it creates. And you just keep finding a solution. Life is very similar. Life has these issues and these hurdles that you come across that you don't expect. And you find a solution and you move on. And if you don't find a solution, you end up posting on social media over and over and over fucking again. And like how you hate your fucking life and all this shit. Or you learn to break that cycle and break out of your current prison. And this is just not about social media, but this is about changing your focus. And the first step that you have to do, so number one, the first thing you guys need to do is change your focus. If you're focusing on negative items, negative things, words coming out of your mouth, you name it, you're going to get stuck. You're going to remain stuck. If you change your focus, so number one, change your focus to something positive and make a conscious effort to do that by changing your word track, changing your actions that you do, you're going to see massive progress. One of the 6 human needs. You will see growth and progress in your life.
And
No, you first.
Well, No.
Me first.
Okay, why did you go ahead and I thought you were going to cough. I was going to jump in because I thought you were going to cough.
You know what's so funny? Every time I do a podcast, I'm coughing for something. I'm literally 6 days on antibiotics. I got a damn sinus infection again. It's in my lungs. Oh wait, here it comes. All right, I'm good. Lungs. First, I'll start with the fires. But enough bitching. Speaking of things I don't want to talk about. So number one, change your focus. The next thing you got to do is you got to take action. You got to take a step in the direction that you want to go. So if you're feeling stuck, what are you going to do about it? You've changed your focus. You're talking positive about stuff. So now what do? You got to take some action. So how do you take action?
It's very interesting because those are your first 2 points, right? Those are your first 2 little bullets.
I'm going to give you a bullet.
I'm going to be respectful.
For my Valentine.
So it's interesting because the first bullet point that I had was belief. You must believe that it's possible to get out of your current prison, which tied into your first bullet. And then I was thinking, now I can't even say bullet because you ruined the word bullet.
World is a vampire. Wait. Anyway, go ahead. It was some song I was thinking of that had the word bullet in it. Some smashing pumpkin song.
Insert smashing pumpkin song. So you must believe that you can succeed at jailbreaking. And not just believe like, okay, hey, I got this, I can do it, and all those fluffy words. You must see yourself doing it. You must see yourself succeeding and having the object of your desire, whether it's a relationship that's more comfortable, whether it's having your book a bestseller on the shelf at Barnes and Noble, maybe Barnes and Noble.
Some of us.
What movie is that from? Barnes and Noble.
That's from the Simpsons episode. It's the comic book guy. Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
Some of us just want larger penises.
And you also need to understand, or you also
Not
need
even
to
a
believe.
remote acknowledgement of my joke.
They're cracking up. They're dying right now. They're loving it.
Howard would have laughed.
They're dying and they're posting about it on Facebook.
Howard would have laughed.
He would have loved it. And you also must believe that the players are going to line up. The help that you need is going to line up because it might look impossible. Some of these feats, some of these things that you're wanting to jailbreak from. So my first objective was believing, and that ties in so perfectly to what you said. Which
was change your focus.
Exactly.
Yes. So, and then I'm hoping that your second bullet point is something to do with taking action. So here's
so it
just
does,
so everyone knows,
which is so funny.
We did this thing where we both wrote down notes. We picked the topic, basically prison break is what we called it. And we set up separate note sheets, and we wanted to experiment and see how this was going to go. So, and I kind of forgot to tell everybody that in the beginning. So, your second bullet point is
create a platform that energizes you.
Create a platform that energizes you.
So you're going to decide. Well, I thought we were going to be talking primarily about business, and so it's basically the same a plan, but the plan must energize you. Whether it's a platform, if you're selling a service or doing a business, whatever, or maybe it's a plan of action to improve your relationship. Why do I keep on going back to that? It's because it's everything, because it's freaking everything, because happy wife, happy life. That's why.
Well, I think most people in this life attribute the two major elements to be work and relationships. Most people are trying to make money and trying to make more of it. And ultimately, they're just looking for love, or they're trying to improve their current relationship.
It's truth. And if they only knew that once they have a six-pack that all their problems are going to go away.
I'm looking for a quote that Rob sent me. It was something so awesome. So just go ahead.
Okay,
I want to hear more. Tell me more about your find a
yes.
platform that energizes you, and then I'm going to tie that into how that relates to everything else
or
we're talking
let's just
about.
say the plan that energizes you.
And don't worry, I'm not taking pictures of your exposed breasts. Rob sent me this quote.
Just
and it's
please don't.
Awesome.
I feel like I have to sit with my knees up just to protect my
relax.
privacy here.
Relax. Oh my God, it's just meme after Game of Thrones meme from me and we spent too much time doing this. Oh my gosh. Carry on.
This is the life. So passion. I've thought so many times of people say, oh, go follow your passion. Do your passion. Live your passion. What is passion? Passion is whatever energizes you. And if you take a moment to just think about it, what really makes you happy? What makes you thrive? What makes you insatiably interested? What makes you never want to stop? Gabe always says in our coaching groups, like, what would you do for the rest of your life without ever being paid for it? But if you're bringing this concept and this idea into a relationship, how could you add energy and joy and passion back into your relationship? Or maybe it's a financial situation. Maybe it's a business situation. Maybe it's got something to do with your health. How can you energize the situation? What are you doing?
I found it.
Okay.
I found it. Okay. This is a quote. Let's see. Hunter S. Thompson. Maybe there is no heaven. Or maybe this is all pure gibberish, a product of the demented imagination of a lazy, drunken hillbilly with a heart full of hate who has found a way to live out where the real winds blow, to sleep late, have fun, get wild, drink whiskey, and drive fast on empty streets with nothing in mind except falling in love and not getting arrested. And then there's some Latin, res ipsa loquitur, or something like that. Let the good times roll, basically. People looking for love, and they're looking for security in their job. It's like, dude, this guy's talking about, all the shit that goes on in his day. He gets drunk because he doesn't want to deal with it, and then he's just hops on his motorcycle and goes rides and tries to find, all he wants to do is fall in love and live life. That's
and really
what it boils down to. That everybody wants to do.
The reason you want anything is because of the way that you believe that you're going to feel in the accomplishment of that thing. If you have a six-pack, you're going to feel confident. If you're happy in your relationship, you're going to feel desired. If you're wanting to make more money, you're going to feel significant. You're going to feel certainty. So what if you just go after the feeling instead of the object of your desire? Just a thought.
Well, okay. Well, hang on. You got to expand on that. What if you just go after the feeling?
Yeah. What energizes you? What makes you happy? Because I was sitting down with a girlfriend the other night, and we're sitting there having a glass of wine and talking about prosperity and talking about the things that we are going to do to increase abundance and prosperity in our life. And all of a sudden, I went outside of my body in a way, and I looked like a bird's eye view down at my situation. I'm sitting here with this delicious glass of Pinot Noir. I'm enjoying this girlfriend that is so funny and so sweet. She's from Argentina. Precious little accent.
Argentina.
She's so cute. And she's funny and fun.
Eating podcast buffs, don't mind me.
And I looked at the environment and it made me feel wealthy. I'll let you be significant. You go ahead. Do you need some attention?
People might find
right
significance
now?
by trying to own the spotlight.
So hold on just a second. I know you're going to crunch.
I lean back from the mic. You're fine.
We can still hear your
No way.
crunching.
Can you really?
Yeah. You can, here, go ahead and crunch. I'm going to punch you in the face. Okay, you guys, I have a problem. I've got a problem. What is it called? What is it called again?
I turned the mic away from you so you wouldn't hear.
But what's my problem again called?
What do you mean?
The condition.
Oh, there is a condition where you don't like when you hear people chew.
Okay, so I have a really, really, really bad I seriously want to punch you in the face.
I forgot.
Oh my gosh, it's so weird, you guys. I can be in the happiest, most beautiful state, but when I hear people crunching, especially people that I love crunching, I have to punch them. Like, I really want to hurt him. I love him.
What is it? I'm looking it up
Okay,
right now.
if any of you guys have this thing like where you hear somebody crunching like apple, cereal, carrot.
Misophonia describes the unreasonable emotions that well up inside some of us when we hear certain repetitive noises being produced by those around us. People with this condition experience annoyance or even anger at the clacking of a keyboard, the rustling of a chip packet, or the smacking of lips.
And my thing is food crunching. That's my only thing.
It's been recognized as a real condition since 2000. And we read this article recently because
but
it
keep
was
going. Say why. Say the thing about the brain.
Yeah, I'm looking right now
because it makes it okay for me. Because I felt guilty for years. Like my sweet little baby sitting back there smiling at me eating veggie chips, and I'm like, ah!
It would drive, and like you would have to leave the table. I'm like, dude, I'm just eating. Leave me alone. And I got my mouth closed, but you can hear some crunching or something, and she just goes nuts. Like she plugs her ears. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Nothing. It's an actual thing. So let's see. They did studies in 2015. Brain scans. Okay. So brain scans revealed marked difference in the subject's neurology in those with, I think it's misophonia. I don't know if it's misophonia or misophonia. The triggering noises correlated with increased activity in the various regions of the brain, including the frontal lobe and the anterior insular cortex, the AIC. And the AIC is buried deep in the fold separating the frontal lobe and the parietal lobe from the temporal lobe of the brain. It's a bunch of scientific shit. Basically, it's responsible for a bunch of mediation tasks. So that is including like managing emotional experiences and that sort of stuff. And it plays a role in integrating signals from the outside world with information inside of your body. And so these triggering sounds spark a reaction in the AIC of the brain with those that have misophonia, and it triggers them even with people without it. But if you don't have misophonia, that area of the brain is able to regulate it and doesn't bother you. So it's like white noise. You don't even realize it's happening. But
it's
people
so
with misophonia,
strange.
Dude, it does all sorts
but
of... It affects
like
the hippocampus,
physical...
the ventromedial prefrontal... I mean, the whole... And with the amygdala. Wasn't that in Waterboy? The amygdala? I said amygdala. The amygdala.
Amygdala.
Here's the amygdala.
Amygdala.
Abdullah Malagata, whatever it was. The water boy. There's no cure, and it annoys the shit out of her.
It's so, well, I'm wondering if I can
I have two in my hand. I gotta eat 'em.
reprogram.
I'm not even going to chew. I'm just going to leave them in my mouth and let them get soggy.
Just let him get soggy, please.
I'm trying so
Dying
hard.
laughing.
We got to explain what's happening so people can get a visual.
They're in his mouth, and I'm like waiting for it, like
I look
someone's
like a
getting
chipmunk.
ready. He's got him in his cheeks, and I'm like waiting, like somebody's bludgeoning me in the stomach. It's so, I don't want to be like that anymore. I think that we should do a brain reprogramming kind of session where I can take.
Get these. I'm just going to eat them all. They taste, Gary Vaynerchuk, if you're listening, these taste delicious.
Gary Vaynerchuk, if you're listening, they taste stale.
They taste great.
I had a couple and I was like, ugh.
They taste fantastic. They're just corn puffs. Like literally, they're like wheat checks, but made out of corn.
Gary V, get on our podcast and I'll show you where you can shove your puffs.
Don't you dare. You know what? It's because you have misophonia you're saying that.
Yeah. Can you please create a cereal that's less crunchy, please?
Yeah,
And thank you.
Enough with the cereal. Let's circle back and get to the final point that I really think is important to talk about. So one, it was changing your focus. My number one was changing your focus. And when I issue the challenge on social media, if you're thinking about posting something negative, I want you to post, or I'm challenging you. I don't want you or ask that you do anything. I'm challenging you to post something completely positive, unrelated to that topic whatsoever, and watch the shift happen. So that was my number one. Your number one was?
Belief that it is possible. See it happening.
So believe that you can change, that you can make the change, that you can get out of your situation that you're currently in, your stuck situation. What was my number two? Holy crap. You got to take action. Jeez, how did I forget that? Take action. And don't just sit there now that you know that what you wanted.
Mine kind of probably should have been right before yours.
Which was?
Create a plan that energizes you. Create a plan that energizes you.
I thought you said
and then
have a
take
platform
action.
that energizes you.
Well, because I thought we were talking only about business.
So if you're going to have a platform that energizes you.
This is what happens when we don't combine our notes.
Yeah. If you're going to have a platform that energizes you, the way to get that is to sit down and do pretty much what you said. Make a list of the things that energize you, that make you feel powerful and happy, and those things
fulfilled.
that you could do the rest of your life and not get paid for it and really enjoy doing. And then go out there and figure out how to do those things. When you've got that, that's the last part, figuring out how to do it, is to take action. Now, number 4, this is the last bullet point of the night. This is something...
5, baby, 5.
Well, it's 4 combined. Okay, so we'll just call it 4.5.
4 points. 4.1.
4-point blue. Favorite color. My favorite number is yellow.
4-point yellow.
My iPod is chocolate. So the final bullet point out of all these, it's either 4 or 5. We are indecisive about that. But the point is...
Don't worry about it.
The point about the point. Get it out. I'm ready to make such a huge impact on these poor people that are listening.
Okay.
They put up with our shit. They know that your breasts are hanging out. And I'm just sitting here trying to get through this podcast and, survive basically at this point. And okay. So the final point is finish what you started. Final point. Finish what you started. Priscilla has reached her hand into the podcast puff. She goes... See, it doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me when I'm the one chewing.
But if I were to do it right now, you might just freak out. Am I going to do that? Is that what's going to happen? I'm reaching for the podcast puff.
You back.
She still has one in her hand. I'm reaching my hand in. Do you hear the rustling? Here's me. And I'm not just having one. I'm having two.
No.
Here it goes. And
I'm going to do it too. I'll do it if you do it.
Do you want to punch me in the face? Or is it
No,
canceling it out?
It's canceling it out.
All
Okay,
right.
let's try. No, it's okay because I can't hear you because I'm chewing. Okay, so that is good information.
Finish what you started.
Remember the other night when we figured that out? I was drinking wine and trying to focus on the wine. I'm choking on podcast puff.
Here, have some water. Are you really? She's really choking, and I'm kind of laughing. But it's
Gary
okay because
Vee
as she
put
leaned
that
forward,
one
her
in
breast
there.
became exposed.
Oh, Gary Vee did that one on purpose. He's like, I'm going to put this in Priscilla's
Well, you
podcast
deserve it
books.
after all those mean things that you said that were totally uncalled
All right,
for because
Gary,
you have
I'm
misophonia.
sorry.
Misophonia?
Please forgive
Misophonia?
me.
How many times have you guys gone out there with an idea and you get this spark of an idea and you put some effort into it and you spend a day, you know, it's either drafting a business plan or you start meal prepping or you open up.
Or you start a painting.
Yeah. Or you open up one of the Genesis G2 Ignite Revolution Savage Shred programs, Big Arm Bible, and you start reading through it or you start watching the videos and you're all set. You do 1 or 2 workouts and then you decide it's too hard or there's too much work to do or it seems like the goal is too far away to accomplish. Right now, I'm making all these weird noises with my mouth because I'm like half chewing as I talk. I hear like squeaking and stuff like with my...
See, those
right now, I want you to just take a moment and think about not my smacking lips, but the thing that you started that you did not finish. Maybe it's more than one thing. Maybe it's 2 things. Maybe it's a pattern that you have somehow been repeating in your life. Take a moment and think about it. If it's more than one thing that you've started that you've wanted to do and you started and you haven't finished, we have a pattern. If it's the same thing that you've tried to do multiple times, there's a pattern. And what you have to do is you have to break that pattern. You have to recognize that you're in this pattern, you're in this cycle, and you have to break it. Finishing what you started is by far the most important piece of advice Priscilla and I could possibly give you.
Can I share something in there? Because that's so profound for me because I was working on an incredibly difficult task. One of the most difficult things that I've worked on in a really, really long time. And then I realized every single project I've ever done, anything of worth that I've ever done, my titles that I've won in fitness, different things, my books that I've written, whatever it is, I have always wanted to give up. My marriage, always. There's been a time when I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And then I rise back into my power and I complete the task. And it builds self-efficacy. It builds self-confidence. It builds self-worth. It builds belief in the next project that you're working on because you're working on it. You look back and you're like, okay, I can do this. I did that. I could do this.
I just want to state for the record that efficacy and defecacy, defecating, I get them confused all the time. So when you said self-efficacy, I just thought about you pooping. Which you don't do, because I know girls don't poop. So I don't even know why I thought about it. They don't poop and they don't fart. So
we don't even have bung holes.
Then things are going in weird holes then for whatever reason.
What's going on
What's going on here, man? There's gonna be a lot of very disappointed men on their I almost said their wedding night, but I'm like, most guys don't get that on their wedding night.
Self-efficacy is just like, hey, I can do this. Are you done with your noises?
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. You just said efficacy again.
Efficacy. Belief that you can do it. Oh my gosh.
I believe that.
3rd grader.
I'm basically an adult trapped in I'm a child trapped in an adult's body. That almost went really south. Almost got bad. Anyway, finish what you guys started. I mean, I see so many people, and I was a victim of it. No, I never was. I always finished what I started. And I think part of it is because my parents forced me to finish what I started. My mom, I used to think they were so strict. I would come home from school and they would force me to finish anything I started. My homework. She would check on me. Did you finish it? No. Get your butt up and finish. Did you do your chores? No. Why not? Go finish that right now. But Mom, you need to do that right now. Actually, and it was, I'm talking about cleaning up, and she helped me a lot with things, but I had to finish everything that I started. I got no shortcuts in life. And I'm not saying that anybody else did, but it's just one of those things that my parents would make me do. And you know what? Here's a funny story about me finishing what I started. When you and I were first dating, one of the things I was supposed to do was mow the lawn. And I just I could not get out of not finishing what I started. And I did some of my chores this day. You and I had a date that we were supposed to go on. Did some of my chores. And I thought, you know what? I'll mow the lawn tomorrow. I'm just going to get out of it. The giant front lawn in my dad's yard. And my dad, I'm literally getting dressed to go see you. So I'm already pre-showered. And he's like, did you mow the lawn? I'm like, and he looks out the window. He's like, you didn't mow the lawn. I'm like, Dad, I got a date with Priscilla. Because you're not going anywhere until you mow that lawn. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm going to mow that fucking lawn. I'm like, God, no, I'm not. He's like, Gabe, you're not going anywhere until you mow. If you're living under my roof, you're going to finish what you started. I'm like, fuck. So I go mow the lawn. And as I'm mowing the lawn, I get this really interesting idea. I start mowing in nice lines, and then I start leaving out very specific sections. And by the time I was done mowing the lawn, there was a very large I heart P through the entire line. Not only did I finish what I started, but I kind of stuck it to my dad in a way. And I'm getting in the car. I go inside. I shower. Tell him I'm done. He's like, that's great. And as I'm getting in my car, I start the car. He looks out the window, and I just hear, Gabriel! I drive away. I was in a little bit of trouble, but the point is, I think my ability to finish what I started is a pattern that was created when I was younger. And I've always finished what I've started, from
It
from
does. It
body
carries
Spartan
into
to
adulthood, which is really funny because I was manscaping the other day, and I shaved I heart P in the back of Gabe's head.
You started to, and it really pissed me off.
It was hilarious to me.
It was not funny to me in any way, shape, or form. I
was
like,
was awesome.
Just fucking shave my head correctly so I can finish taking the shower and get on with my day.
That would be so much less fun.
It would. What I'm getting at is that many people set out to do something and they do not finish what they start because it gets too hard, or they fall back into their previous.
Everybody wants to give up on the good stuff. It's hard.
It is hard. Anything that's worth attaining takes effort, and it takes a lot of effort. The big things take time. And one of the reasons that we tell our personal coaching clients to set goals and work backwards and set what I call micro goals is so that you can see the small successes, and you don't have this gigantic Mount Everest to climb to get from point A to point B, and it's going to take you 5, 10, 15 years to build this thing that you want to do. Where instead you go, all right, in 30 days, I need to be here. But today I need to do this to take a step towards that. And when you start just nailing these small goals that you've set little bit at a time, you are reprogramming your brain to see those successes, and you're not looking at the negatives, you're looking at the positives. So if I leave you with any bit of advice tonight, guys, it is finish what you started. So I want you to take the challenge this week. I want you to post on social media something positive every time you think about posting something negative. I want you to change your focus. I want you to find a platform that energizes you. And to do that, you need to write down the things that are going to make you happy, that energize you, that make you feel positive. You got to believe that it's going to happen. You've got to truly believe that these things are going to happen. And once you believe it, you need to go take fucking action. Massive action. Whatever it takes to get from point A to point B. And once you start, do not give up. Break out of the current prison that you are in, whatever it might be. Relationships, family, school. Biggest fucking waste of time in my life, by the way, school. Jesus. If I could go do it all over again, I would. School's just a waste of time. But that's a whole nother podcast. Maybe it's friends.
What would we even call that podcast? You should never go to college.
Honestly. Speaking of Gary, why we've got Gary's podcast puffs in front of us, Gary is one of the biggest proponents of college is the biggest fucking waste of time. It's the biggest scam, the biggest waste of time. If
I went to school for business. None of it is good anymore at all. Marketing, not anything at all.
It's so irrelevant.
It's so irrelevant.
What did you really learn in college? Before we wind down this podcast, what did you learn in college?
Self-discipline.
What else did you learn in college?
That I should have gotten married and started my life instead of being in the college box. And
that's great, because I pretty much did the same thing. I learned how to take care of myself.
I learned how to write letters to you during class.
Yep. I learned how to burn many, many hours of the day listening to a professor parrot what was in the textbook. Literally, I had
boring stuff.
Multiple professors would sit there and read the damn textbook out loud to me because they wrote the textbook. And I'm like, dude, You told me to read it. I read it, and now you're just literally reading it word for word. So I learned to survive through college. I learned how to live on my own. I learned how much alcohol I could drink with and without throwing up. I learned how much alcohol I could drink and still find my way home before Rocky or Buck, two of my buddies back then, had to literally put me in the car and take me home. I learned how to use MapQuest, which was a thing back in the day before Google Maps. I learned how to print out maps,
to really be on
drive
time.
5.5 hours to see you and be prepared to do that. I learned where all the good stops were on the way down to go pee. I learned exactly how much gas I could put in my car and how low I could run it before it would go on empty when I was on my way to see you. And somewhere along the line, I have a degree in
6.5 hours apart, our colleges.
Somewhere it was 5.5.
5.5?
Yeah, it was 5.5.
San Diego to SLO?
Yeah, it's 5.5 hours in my car, the way I drive.
Okay, well, it probably took me.
And depending on traffic too. But what I got out of all that was a degree in civil engineering. So believe it or not, everybody listening, this fucking meathead here, I can design a bridge and I can do hydrology systems if I wanted to. I don't want to. I minored in structure, so I could design a building too if I wanted to.
Oh, that's another thing
I did that
I was
for 5 years, and I hated every moment of it, and none of it's relevant. I've forgotten everything I learned in college. None of it fucking matters.
And if you go after what's going to make money, it's not sustainable. It's got to be something that energizes you so that when things get difficult, you continue to go. Otherwise, you're just going to want to quit.
So I agree, and I don't agree with that at the same time. I agree that you have to go with what's sustainable, but I agree that you have to be able to do something that you truly enjoy, something that you love, something that you're passionate about, and find a way to make money doing that. That is where I found
That's
success.
Exactly what I just said.
Wait, well, what did you just say?
I said if you go after just the money, it's not sustainable enough to energize you.
Oh, I misunderstood. I totally misunderstood.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
We're both saying figure out what it is that you love and find a way to make money doing that. Like my next passion obviously is motorcycle riding, and I believe that I've found the solution on how to do it, and it's fun to me because it's like a puzzle that I keep putting together. You have all these puzzle pieces and you have to figure out how to disrupt a certain industry. So and here's just a little bit of unsolicited business advice, disrupt the industry. This is something that, speaking of Gary Vaynerchuk, that told me in his office, and I did not understand what disrupting an industry meant.
It was so...
You have to sit down and
said that
think
so
about
far
it.
Before any sort of media got in touch with or got a hold of that.
It doesn't mean like
Amazing.
Stand up and get naked and streak down the street, but it basically means what will change the industry in its entirety that everybody must have and must need and turn. Think of it this way. Back in the day, I'm going to give you one example, then we're going to wrap up. Back in the day when search engines first came out, and this is for some of the people that are listening, it's going to be before your time, but it's a good history lesson. We didn't just have Google. Google wasn't around. We had Hotbot, we had Lycos, we had Alta Vista. What were the other ones? There were 5 major search engines, if I remember correctly, and each one allowed you to access certain bits of information on the web. So it wasn't all there for you to go get. What Google did is they said, okay, well, instead of locking you down to just this information that we have, we're going to open it up to everything on the web. So they became the aggregator. And what they did is they figured out a way to search between all of the search engines and the entire internet and give it all away for free. So you didn't have to just sign up with like AOL and use whatever search engines AOL had. They turned the funnel upside down. They said, okay, we're not going to lock you down. We're going to use everybody. We're going to be the aggregator. And everybody's going to come to us. And we're going to use everybody else's search engines to find everything. And that's just basically what they did. It was insane. Like, it was unheard of. Like, everybody else had things locked down. When you turn the funnel upside down and you figure out a way to do that and you totally disrupt the industry. Give me another disruption before we go. What's another disruption?
Body Spartan. How everybody's on low-fat diets and we're like, well, let's try keto.
I know, and I put this out there before. I'm just going to say we are the mother and father of internet keto. I'm just going to say it because you've been doing keto since you were doing competitions back in the day. We were the very
I diet down
first.
my athletes the same way.
This is why Body Spartan did so well, because we were the very first company to bring keto to the internet in a programmatic form. Keto diet was nothing secret. I don't want to say it was nothing secret. It had been done. It just wasn't mainstream.
And
Bodybuilders did it all the time.
Atkins was mainstream, but
it's not keto.
Cycling.
Well, Atkins is not keto. Atkins isn't high fat by any means. Atkins is just basically zero carbohydrates.
I mean, that's the closest that there was.
Yeah, but instead of being in ketogenesis, you were in ketoacidosis, which is dangerous for your body. So it's totally different than ketogenesis.
We definitely stepped onto the scene in a different way.
Well, we broke through. We presented something totally new, totally different in a completely different format, and we included motivation. So we completely disrupted the industry. It was do this workout or do this diet, and you're going to have great success. And we're like, well, hey, what if you did the workout and the diet was like nothing you'd ever seen? And we put it all in a program for you.
And we're going to give tons and tons and tons of free content for like 2 years before we ever sell anything.
Well, and we were the first people to really say, it's not just the workout. It's not just the cardio. It's not just the supplements. And it's not just the nutrition. It's the reason behind why you're doing it. It's your why.
And there really wasn't motivation either. We stepped on the scene in a different way for sure.
Not in fitness, no. And so we totally disrupted the industry, which is why we were so successful when we started. I'm going to leave you with that, guys. So remember, take action. Remember your challenge. Find your energizing platform. Change your focus. Take action. And then finish what you started. 14-day free trial of the All Access Pass, bodyspartan.com. Go get it. Get all these. Oh, by the way, dude, Big Arm Bible is there, guys. It's in the All Access Pass. Ladies, the secret of weight loss. The secrets of weight loss I wish I knew 100 pounds ago. Priscilla's ebook is there too. I'm going to just go ahead and say this. I said it in the email this week. If you're not signed up for the All Access Pass, go sign up because, and here is why, there is like $50+ in free products there. Each one of those ebooks is $25 usually. And we packed them in there. If you go sign up for the free trial, you can download the Big Arm Bible. It's a 30-day program. You can download the Secrets of Weight Loss. It's a 30-day program for free. And if you decided to cancel after 14 days, I'm not going to cry about it. What I'm doing is I'm giving away our hard work, hoping that you will see the value in it. And you'll go, damn, this is some good shit that I've been missing. And you know what? I'm going to stay on to see what else they have to offer. And if that's not you, that's okay. I can totally live with that because I've never been about the money. I've been about changing lives. And that, my friends, is what I'm going to leave you with. So go change some lives. We'll see you next time.
For more free information on fitness, nutrition, and bodybuilding, visit us at www.bodyspartan.com.